telehealth, it's completely changed how patient care is working. There's so much competition in this space. You have to figure out an offer and a strategy that really works for your telehealth company. Before you go to market, what is your unique selling point? How are you different? You're taking data from somebody and you're offering them different solutions. The time to get into the telehealth space is still now because the market share is increasing. If you're not doing email SMS, you're leaving money on the table.
Where do we usually start? You mentioned Meta. There are technically other channels. Where would we start? Like Meta, Google? Talk to us about the channel strategy that a telehealth owner should have.
Even if we're just talking about paid ads, like Meta's the place to be. Like that is the first channel you should be starting off with in the telehealth space. There's no other option you should be considering at that point, minus Google, right? So Google search is also doing well. But if you're asking me for one channel, Meta. If you're asking me for two, I'd go Meta, Google, and then three, Meta, Google, email, SMS. I would even put email, SMS before doing Google as well. Like the trifecta that I talk about is Meta, Google, email, SMS. You can scale to multi-million dollars with that, and then you can start to possibly explore other channels as well.
And at what point would you expand beyond, you kind of named the top three of Meta, Google, and then email, SMS. There has to be other channels that people think of, like, TikTok, Pinterest, Reddit, CTV. Are those even worth it? When would we scale?
A lot of, like, for example, if you look at digital billboard ads, that's going to be great for brand awareness. Actually, I was driving here like a week ago and I saw a billboard ad for a telehealth company. Great brand awareness move. If you look at Super Bowl commercials as well, Rowe, I think, had put out a Super Bowl commercial. So those are great brand awareness plays. But once you're spending about $1 million, $2 million, that's when I've seen brands start to explore Snapchat, Reddit, Quora, digital billboard ads, because they need that brand presence. Plus, you can also drive sales through like TikTok, Snapchat, all these other channels as well.
Right.
But the big movers in the space, Meta, Google, and 100%, if anyone's listening to this and you take one thing away, like email, SMS.
Right.
And the reason I say that is because the funnel is so complex for these telehealth companies, right? Let's say someone's interested in a product. They come over from the ad or however they get there to the landing page. They select their product and fill out this intake form to kind of like pre-qualify before actually visiting the doctor. Doctor approves. And then they get their medication. And now they're in the customer cohort. So what's happening is the funnel's so complex. Maybe they added that thing to cart. Maybe they filled the intake form out just 2 steps instead of all the way. Maybe they completed the intake form, were approved, right? Because some people will not get approved for that medication. Maybe they approved, but then didn't actually do the doctor visit. So why is that, right? So now you have to be able to retarget them so that you can reduce your CAC. Especially also, like, if they were disapproved, what can you do with them? Like, they didn't qualify for your medication. You can try to sell them or retarget them on something else. So there's a lot of different avenues here. Data is huge in the space.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Coming back to your question, that's just to answer it here. Like, I would explore those options after scaling beyond like $1 million or $2 million per month.
Okay. So if we're just starting, it sounds like we just basically want to be focusing on Meta, maybe Google.
Yeah.
Can you talk about keyword strategy? And I think there might be a little bit of difference between the two channels for keyword strategy.
Yeah, just generally speaking, like Meta is there for raising awareness and then through creative and then getting people to purchase. Whereas mostly what we've seen on Google is going to be search dominant. So people are searching up like, hey, I'm having problems with XYZ. And then you might be able to place there. Especially on Google, you want to just make them aware of the next step, not necessarily benefits or products and stuff. Like, what is the next step I can take to resolve this problem that I'm having? So yeah, Google, high intent. People are searching things up and they're like, okay, this is my problem. Bam, this is my solution essentially. Meta, you're literally showcasing these creatives and going like, here's what we do. We have this ad. Go check out our website.
Right. What would you say are the biggest mistakes people often make when scaling in Meta or Google?
I think ads is a big one, like what ads they're actually launching off. And then, you know what? I'm going to share this just because we have insight into having worked with multiple brands. And just from your last question, like looking at other channels, I know brands that are spending 500, 400K are already starting that exercise of looking into different platforms, not necessarily marketing there, but they start to realize like we should probably diversify at this point.
Right.
So in terms of like mistakes, I think that was a question that people make on Meta and Google. The whole thing in the funnel space is to be able to test out different offers. So let me even back up a little bit. Like there's so much competition in the space, you have to figure out an offer and a strategy that really works for your telehealth company. Whether that's like bundled offers, whether that's a specific ICP, you're doing something different than what the market is doing. What a lot of we're no longer in the space of being able to just go to market with like, hey, we provide this solution or we provide this medication. Just come. That's what it used to be like before. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, hey, we offer this product. And the unique selling point of that was, hey, you don't have to go to your doctor to ask about, hey, I need ED products, erectile dysfunction. You don't have to worry about that. Weight loss, hey, blah, blah, blah. You can just, from taps on your mobile phone, you can order this. That was like the USP as a whole a few years ago. Now things have changed because there's so much competition. So truly, before you go to market, what is your unique selling point? How are you different? Is it pricing? Is it trust? Confidence that you're building with people that are interested in your brand? Is it branding?
So is that something the telehealth owner should have in mind before they get into this? What's going to make them different? And that sounds really hard.
Yeah, it is difficult, but like look at any business, right?
Yeah.
Like any business needs a way of how they can stand out. So it's the same thing that's being applied in the telehealth space now. It's like, I'll make a crude example, like you're selling this cup, this glass, right? There's multiple companies that are selling glasses. So how are you going to stand out from selling glasses? That's what it's really turning into. Everyone is providing the same or similar medication, but what makes business one different than business two? Customer service, support, pricing? Is it their willingness to go to market and be okay with a higher CAC?
Yeah.
We had a company come to us. They're like, hey, we want to spend $2 million a month. We don't care about CAC. And we have other companies come to us, hey, our business will only work because we need to hit this CAC number. So we're treating that business and that business's needs and growth goals differently.
Right. So it sounds like what you're saying is the brands that are able to really stand apart are the ones that are building themselves long-term as a brand to make themselves stand out.
Yes. You know, I used an interesting example of this glass, but look at protein powder. You can go get protein powder from anywhere, right? They're all kind of similar, but some of them are at a lower price point. Some of them, like Naked Nutrition, that's the protein I buy because it's got the fewest random ingredients because I want something pure and clean. That can change from a product perspective, but imagine if everyone was just selling the same product or very similar product. So how are you going to differentiate? Like Blue Chew now, I was looking at their website the other day. They're selling like mints, or they're selling like, instead of having to take this pill, they're selling a mint version of that. So they're using those avenues to stand out from the other players in the space. Because does anyone really want to take a pill, blah, blah, blah. And that's what they had found. So let's go introduce a new product in the space to stand out. You have to stand out somehow. You know what? There's like smaller players. So if you're thinking from a smaller perspective, yes, you can still put ads out there and make money from that. But the CAC will continue to rise up. And we've seen this over the last 2, 3, 4 years.
Right. Because you're not building that long-term relationship with the customer through your brand.
Yes. Well, the biggest reason the CAC will go up is because there's just more players in the market.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Like, for example, I think GLP, like there's like 1 in every 8 people that use GLP, I believe, in North America for weight loss. That's going to turn to 2 out of 8, 3 out of 8, and probably end at a certain point, not 8 out of 8, but the market share is going to increase. So the time to get into the telehealth space is still now because the market share is increasing.
Yeah.
But you still need a way to be able to stand out from your competition, and that goes for any business out there.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so you talked about this a little bit before in terms of channels. Let's dive in a little bit more to email and SMS, because I think it's something that most business owners or people don't even think of. They'll think of like, oh, I should start going to TikTok instead of like email. Who goes on email? Like old people, right?
Yeah.
But what you're telling us is like, no, email and SMS is actually such an untapped channel. And can you just talk a little bit more about that and high level, how it can support the other channels?
Yeah, Michelle, I was mentioning before, telehealth space, you have to fill out these intake forms. You're paying a lot of money to showcase your ad to people out there. And some people will take that, they'll look at the ad and then start to go down the funnel. I don't know why. Some people
So
have
funnel, what exactly does that mean, funnel?
So funnel, look at it all the way from your ad to your landing page, to the intake form, to the add to cart, to the checkout, to then meeting with the doctor.
Okay, so that's like what the customer is going through in the steps to before they eventually purchase.
Exactly.
Okay.
But that's a funnel, right? So it's going to reduce over time. So a lot of these brands and companies and founders coming to us are like, hey, we're doing this and we're hitting these high CAC numbers and my business economics don't make sense. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm like a growth engineer at this point. My background's in engineering. So it's like we're looking at this funnel and okay, the numbers aren't making sense. Okay, are there any improvements we can make to the funnel, firstly? Now, talking about email, SMS, that is an improvement as a whole because you've collected so much information from people that have visited or interacted with your funnel. You have their email. You have their phone number potentially because they wanted to get a discount code. That's how this works. And then you're hanging out. Let's say you looked at it and 6 a.m. in the morning because you were interested. You put your email in for a 10% discount. Later that evening or the day after, and now you're looking at email flows that happen weekly, daily, monthly, whatever the cadence is. You're reminding that prospect, that customer that was interested to, hey, go purchase.
Right.
Purchase,
right.
You know what? You did 10%, here's 15% off.
I think so many people don't realize how valuable that email address is and what kind of relationship you can build from that. Obviously, without being spammy, you want to be, authentic in how you build that relationship with your customer.
I think the way I look at telehealth, it's completely changed how patient care is working. So like I was saying, traditionally there were sort of these manual processes. Now the space has changed and you're looking at it from a marketing lens. Hey, what is my customer acquisition cost? Right? What is my LTV? I don't think, Michelle, the doctor down the street, is thinking of it like that. He's not looking, what is my customer acquisition? No, they're not looking at it that way. So what I'm trying to say here is the marketing has taken there's such a big aspect of marketing involved in the telehealth space, and you're just looking at these businesses from a marketing standpoint of the funnels, right? Marketing, what is my marketing funnel to acquire these customers? Email, SMS, coming back to that. Sure, you acquired your customer at, let's just say, half the cost of what somebody else did.
Okay.
Is that good? Great. That's great, right? But what if they leave after a month, whereas company number 2 that acquired them for double the amount keeps them around for 6 months? Business economics, I paid X to get this customer. They spent 2X with me. Business number 2 in this scenario, sure, they paid 2X to acquire that customer, but they got like 3X out from that.
As a kind of side question, how often should a business owner be evaluating that kind of ratio, CAC to LTV ratio? Is it constant? Is it like a monthly check-in, weekly check-in?
Yeah, it gets quite interesting because we've done this for, now I'm going to make this example from like the supplement space, but we've done this for a client where we evaluated different cohorts, and it starts to get complex, right? Because you have multiple offers that you're testing. What is the LTV for that cohort in that specific offer? What is that LTV? So let's say you're offering, we talked about welcome kit. Let's say you promote this welcome kit and they pay a certain amount for the welcome kit, but they only retain for a few months, or they end up retaining for 6 months. You have to look at this data very frequently. I can't say daily, maybe hourly, maybe every second.
Oh my goodness.
But you're having to look at it frequently because there's different offers, there's different landing pages, there's all these different things going on in your marketing funnel, which you have to evaluate to figure out what are my business economics of that. And coming back to that email SMS helps with the retention, helps with the acquisition. If you're not doing email SMS, you're leaving money on the table.
How is the brand going to stand out if everyone essentially is using the same provider or backend?
They know their retention is going to pay off in the future. How do those companies stand out? Marketing. Yeah, if someone's watching this, they should be doing this like now.